Hello everyone, and thank you so much for joining me in this video. I hope you're doing really well. It's autumn, and if you watched my previous video you'll know that I've been out in autumn, and I talked briefly in that video about all the storms we've had. We've had a couple in the last 3 weeks or so, and it's not too long since I filmed that last video. I thought we were clear of that, but unfortunately for tomorrow there is the forecast of more storms, and I think across the whole of the UK the wind speed this time is going to vary quite a lot, but certainly in the areas that I would be in it's going to be over 40 miles per hour, maybe about 45 miles per hour. But the worrying thing is torrential rain, so lots more flooding, more damage, probably more roads closed, and yeah, I've seen a lot of damage. So it's always difficult to know the best time to be out for autumn photography, try to capture the peak colour. And I've certainly noticed over the last few years things are changing in nature. I see it a lot in my wildlife photography. Certain birds I would be expecting to see or not see in specific windows, and those windows are shifting each year. So difficult to judge, but I think today is simply a case of I need to get out and try and capture some more autumn colour before these storms do even more damage and potentially a lot of the leaves are off the trees. So I'm going to head on and see what I can find. So I've really been struggling today in this woodland, and there are two main reasons for that. I've really been enjoying walking along. I've been looking hard for compositions, but there's two main things that's been against me today, and they're both really light related. The first is that although we are many hours from sunset, at this time of year the sun is quite low in the sky. And woodlands, by their very nature, if there's a lot of trees in them, they can be quite dark. And due to that, and where this one is located, the surrounding countryside and so on, the light just hasn't been getting to the areas that I need it to get to. So that's the main thing that's been against me. And the other thing, again, light related, is that although it was reasonably bright when I set off, a lot of cloud has just materialized in the sky, so the light levels are very low, so it's quite overcast. So put that two things together and it's going to be difficult to get nice photographs because light is really important. However, I spotted this scene behind me here, and I really like this tree here. The autumn colour really stands out, and it's the only one in this area, apart from a few leaves scattered behind it, that's really showing that autumn colour nicely. And there's some really nice mysterious shaped trees off to its left in the distance as well. And just for a brief second, I would say maybe about 30 seconds to be fair, the light levels lifted, the sun just tried to break through, and there was some nice soft light hitting the background as well, but it was darker. And the nice light hitting these bright leaves really made them stand out, so it really was beautiful just for a brief period. Then the rain came on quite heavy for about a minute or so and it went off, so I sought some shelter. But the nice soft light that broke through just for a minute or so, 30 seconds, really helped make this scene come alive. So where I'd been seeing no photographs, one suddenly appeared. And it was lucky that I waited here because I definitely saw potential, but the light was just poor, overcast and so on. So I did hang around, and I was really fortunate to get that brief period of light which made the scene come alive. So I'll show you that image now. So things haven't really got any easier. The light has improved a little bit, but of course the sun is dropping lower in the sky. And off to my left here, I can just barely see the sun above the ridgeline, so it's about to drop, and I think the light then is going to be too poor for photography. But I have seen something here. I've taken an image here. I'll talk about that in just a second, and then I'm going to move on and finish the video by talking about something that I think is extremely important in photography. You've probably heard it before, but although I've been doing photography for many years, just being out today has reinforced my opinion of this even more. So I'll talk about that in just a second. But as for this scene, there's obviously some autumn colour, and when we're out doing photography in autumn, it's important to remember to still concentrate on good composition, good light, not just be drawn to areas where there's lots of colour all the time, because there's not always good compositions. So in this case, there's not lots of autumn colour, but it's certainly scattered around. And I'm using this path to hopefully lead the viewer through the image off into the distant woodland. And the light has been changing constantly, and it's been falling in various areas. So depending on when I take the image, it could have a very different look. And there's some interesting characters in terms of trees off in the distance. We've got an interesting one which is broken off, probably about a third of a way up from its original height. But yeah, some nice colour, some nice leading lines, some nice soft light off in the distance as the sun is beginning to set, and I think it should be hopefully quite a nice image. You might be able to see that off in the distance behind me here, the sun is almost at that ridge line that I spoke about earlier. And I think the woodland is going to get light for probably about the next 10 to 15 minutes maximum, and then it's going to be quite dark. So there's always hope, there's always potential. I'll be looking around, but I may have captured my final image for today. And as I talk, it's some heavy rain coming on as well, and it's incredibly overcast in that direction. But this is what I want to talk about really, the conditions changing in light, mainly light. Light is hugely important in photography. I'm sure you all know that. I've been doing photography, fortunately, for many years, and I'm very aware of the importance of light and obviously composition as well. But I would say I'm out doing photography a lot, and probably within the last 6 months, today, although it's not easy to show it in the video, but today the importance of light has really been so apparent to me, and I've been really conscious of light the whole time I've been walking around today. And that means so many different things. It means being able to identify a good composition when the light is very poor, and knowing if you wait it could turn into something really nice. I think that's an important skill to try and develop. It's sometimes easy to spot a good scene when there's magical light, but identifying that scene when the light is dull, dreary and overcast, and knowing that if you wait and get some light it's going to turn into something a bit more magical, I think that's really hugely important in terms of photography. And that's been in my mind a couple of times today, quite a lot today. And I've also identified other compositions which were just too low down, so they were never going to get light today, but I know to go back to them at a different time of day and then they will get light, and hopefully I'll get a nice image. So the importance of light really is huge. The direction the light's coming from, the quality of the light, and where it's falling on your composition is hugely important as well. Just because there is light, it doesn't mean it's complementary to the composition. It may be better if the sun moved slightly and light hit different areas of your composition. So It's a very basic principle in terms of photography. We all know about light and composition, but it is quite complex light in its own right. The different directions, the different types of light, and knowing how to read light and know what a scene actually needs in terms of light to work its best. So those are just some brief thoughts on light that I'd like to close this video with today. I really do hope you've enjoyed watching. I've only captured 2 images unless something changes, but it's not about how many images that you capture, it's just about how pleased you are with the actual images that you do capture. And I always try and get quality over quantity, so hopefully I've got 2 fairly nice ones today. Thank you again, I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch, and hopefully I will see you in my next video.